Okay, so this thought came to me this week because I had it. I learned I don't get involved in the Twitter back and forth. I just don't, except when I'm
Yes,
really.
you do.
Well, okay, well, you let me finish.
I'm sorry, but that's just funny to me.
Look, I know myself.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I know how long of a period I went without even I mute.
Yeah, you took a break.
Right. Once in a blue moon. I'm not saying I don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm saying when I try not to, and I almost never do, but when I do, I get in there and I always regret it because it never goes well.
Because Twitter, you just can't win.
It's just so annoying because people the tone is different. You know how many times I've met people say some of the most vile shit to me on Twitter, and then I sit at the poker table, I'm like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, I saw your tweet, you piece of shit, right?
Yeah.
Like I saw what you said.
They act like it's not real.
And now you want to be my buddy? It's because it's like that GIF. You know that video where the two dogs, where they're behind a gate and they bark at each other.
But then they get to see each
and then
other.
they open the gate and then they go, and then they close the gate and it's like, bah, 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 bah. That's how they are.
Apollo's like that.
They're
kinda.
little weasels, right? Where they can attack you from behind the keyboard, but then when they see you in person, they can't. So anyway, where was I going? So what happened was there's this guy in poker, and I want to use the analogy because it reminds me of way back when, there were two female poker players that were considered the best.
I can guess those.
Who?
Can I guess those?
Sure.
Jennifer Harmon.
Mm-hmm.
I still consider her one of the best.
Yep.
And then Annie Duke.
Yeah, of course. So those two were friends too. Okay.
Oh, they were?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I thought they
were
were
very close for a while, and then they weren't. But so here's what's interesting with that. This is where I want to sort of parlay into where I was going with it, because we're going to talk about one of my flaws, because I know you enjoy that.
No, shut up.
You do. So we're going to get to my flaws, but first,
because we talk about mine all the time.
Yeah. First, I'm going to paint the picture. So back then,
so tight. Ugh.
Okay. As far as poker playing skill, Jennifer was better than her at everything.
Okay.
Okay. Still is, because she doesn't play anymore, right?
Yeah.
However, if you listened to them talk about a hand or explain a hand, right? Annie would speak with such confidence and assurance. She was very well spoken and it was like, oh, wow, she must be really good.
Yeah.
Right? You'd listen to Jennifer break down a hand and she'd forget what
she's kind of all over the place.
She'd be like, so I raised the button with King Jack. And then I check raise the flop. I'm like, wait, you were the button.
And then she goes, oh, wait.
No. I didn't have King Jack. I had 2 4s. I'm like, what? So she tells a hand like that. So objectively, you look at this one, you look at this one, and you would, based on the way that they speak, their vocabulary and all that sort of stuff, you would assume, well, this one's better than this one, right?
Yeah.
This one's the intelligent one, this one's not. However, the truth is, Jennifer maybe didn't eloquently know how to explain what she was doing, but she just had great intuition and just, knew the right answers.
She knew the game better.
Right. Yeah. But objectively, people would see these two, and they're like, well, she must be the expert because she sounds like one, right?
Yeah.
And it made me think of there's a gentleman in poker who I think has, of any human being, he's got the most vast vocabulary. I don't think anyone in the world with the vocabulary that he has is dumber than he is.
He's not like Ali. He has a great vocabulary and he's fucking
but I'm saying,
smart.
in terms of just being wrong, but so certain and so convinced that he's right. So I went into Twitter and I tried to be nice.
Really?
I did. I tried to be nice.
Were you asking him?
Oh, I didn't ask him. I did, though. But if you read the tweet, I was going in there being nice.
Yeah.
Years ago on High Stakes Poker, Barry Greenstein and Tom Dwan were in this huge pot. It was $1 million.
Run it twice.
$1 million, right? Tom says, you want to run it twice? Because it's like a 50-50. Barry has aces. Tom has, it's 50-50 the odds on the hand, right? So Barry had a policy, right? You know Barry, of course.
Yes.
He didn't run it twice. He never ran it twice. He's always no, one-time guy, right? So in this case, they look at the hands and he says, I don't run it twice. I mean, he doesn't like running twice, but he has reasons.
So that's okay, right?
And then he's like, but if you want to take a couple $100,000 back, we can do that. Okay?
Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. And Tom Dwan, baller as he is, he's like a 22-year-old up-and-comer. He's like, nah. He's literally flipping a coin for $500,000.
And doesn't
he didn't
take
have
anything
to.
back.
There's no edge now because there's no more poker being played. It's just you literally flip a coin and one of you is going to win $500K and one of you isn't. Okay. So I chimed in because I knew Barry and I understood the reason why he did it. And there was a very logical reason. Okay. He always said run it once because when people have the opportunity to run it twice, they're more likely to take bigger risks and try to bluff you.
Because they know that they can run it twice.
So let's say they flop a flush draw, and they're like, all right, I'll move in. If you fold, let's say there's 20,000 out there. You fold, they win the 20,000. If you call, they say run it twice. Now,
it's got a shot.
They're still an underdog, but they're far less likely to lose all their money. So I didn't word this. I didn't say per bit, but the idea is let's say, for example, there's 20,000 in the pot. You bet 100,000. Okay. Your exposure is 100,000. What I said, I forgot a word, is like now your exposure is 50,000 per bet though. Okay. So instead of making a $100,000 bet, you're making two $50,000 bets.
Okay.
So some people are going to be more willing to do that because when you make a larger bet, people fold more often, right? So I shared it in the most humble way. I said, no, I even said, I get why it seems silly, but here was why.
Here's
right?
why. Yeah.
I just shared that, trying to be, nice.
Nice guy.
And then he came in with you're basic, like, I'll paraphrase, you're wrong, you're stupid, that's not how it works, blah, blah, blah. The same old thing like he always does. And I was like, fuck me, right? Because I really did try.
Yeah.
But here's my...
Maybe he was looking for a fight.
Well, that's his MO. He has more fights than anybody in poker, like consistently. He's always involved in a beef with somebody, right? So I didn't want to be involved in it. But the thing is all these years, I'm 50 now. One of the traits that I know that I possess, and I've said this to him, and he hates when I do this. He says, you parade around the fact that you're arrogant, condescending, like it's some badge of honor. It kind of is a good thing to know, okay? So I know that when I'm pushed, when people are arrogant or condescending to me, not only one, can I recognize it, because it's one of my biggest flaws.
Yeah.
Is it brings out mine, and I'm so fucking good at it. Like if I want to be arrogant and condescending, I can really do that. So I went back with some of that, right? And if somebody said, oh, you were being arrogant, I said, yeah, you're right. After him. Like,
because then they can't fight you about it because you're like, I'm that too.
I am, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, he has this idea that like, because I own it, that like I'm parading it around. I'm just like, listen, I'm not proud of it.
Yeah.
I'm saying I wish I'm work at something. It's a work in progress.
Is it?
And I'll tell you what though, I do a much better job than I used to. Because I used to like use ad hominem attacks all the time, whatever. And I didn't here. I was just trying to explain to him because on the two major things that are poker related that we got in an argument with like recently, he's like so clearly wrong, but so certain that he's right. The first one, he says, well, once I realized I was wrong, I switched course immediately. He did not.
No.
He went on a podcast and he did the Andy Duke thing. On his podcast, he was speaking to the people that are all sort of like, I wouldn't say, he's the main guy in there, right?
Okay.
So they do what he's like, they listen to him. So he was making his case, and a couple people on his pod were like, no, I don't think that's right. And he's like, no, it's like this. And they all sort of, even though they know he's wrong, they kind of just cowered.
Ew,
right?
I hate people who do that.
Well, because they're questioning him because he's so good. He's so well spoken, right?
That they can't question him because they feel like he's right.
So yeah, they're like, oh, maybe I'm wrong. You know what I mean? So he has that, ability. And then like he says, well, I changed course. No, you didn't change. You literally continued days later to say that, you were right about something so incredibly stupid. And then Sean Deeb actually chimed in and told him and said, no, you're wrong on this one. And then he did, right?
That worked.
Yeah. But I'm like, no,
that works.
But the thing about it is to not know this tournament concept. You couldn't ask. If you asked 100 people in any poker tournament, winners or losers, they would all get this right. It's so obvious. The idea is simple. I don't want to go all pokery, but it's as simple as this. If you and me made a bet, who's going to cash, right? Me and you were going to bet who's going to cash, okay? Say we bet $100,000. Okay, me and you. Me against you.
Me against you.
And it's a $100 tournament with unlimited rebuys. Okay?
Unlimited rebuys, 100K.
So, but we're betting 100,000. Who's going to cash?
Yeah.
It's unlimited rebuys. Okay? So, but we're not betting on each rebuy. So it's just cash or not cash.
Okay.
You play good. You playing A game, GTO, right? Me, I'm going to go all in every fucking hand until I get a bunch of chips, right?
Yeah.
Burning up $100, right?
Yes.
He didn't think that would give me an advantage.
Oh, I thought you were going to give me a test. I was like,
no.
Let's do the rebuy.
Well, yeah. Well, the point is the question is like, here's the thing. If you go all in every hand, you're going to double up.
Yes, at some point.
You're going to, and you just keep doing it, you're likely to. So the idea is you play a high variance style. Because it was when we were trying to like iron out a bet that we were having. And it's so elementary and so obvious that like that was a blind spot. But he spoke so certainly and confidently about that, much like he did this. And again, like I said, I think people with like a very, vast vocabulary like that, they're very effective at making people think that like,
of course,
just like the Annie and Jennifer thing.
You speak that way, then you have that confidence too. Then people are like, oh, well, I guess he knows.
Yeah. Because it was amazing to me that the guys on his podcast, they were like saying, no, but I think it worked. And then he was like, no. And they just went, oh, I guess I'm, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though they know they're right. So anyway, I just find that fascinating that like, I spot it so clearly in other people. Like, I actually think he's a good person. I really do. I think he's a good man. I think he's an honest man. I think he, you know, is
Oh
good
wow,
to
I've
his
never heard
friends.
you say these things.
I really do. Like, I think he genuinely believes, like, he fights for like good. I don't think there's a bad bone in the guy's body. I think that he's completely blind to the same affliction that I have, which is arrogance and condescension in a big way. And whenever he's poked at, he goes directly there, right? But it's like, I don't know why he doesn't.
He always does it with you.
Oh God, yeah. Well, not just me, but everybody.
Do you think he doesn't like you?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he would say nice things about you like you just said about him?
I think he would say some nice things and then follow it up with some sort of underlying dig, which I sort of did here anyway.
You did, yeah.
Yeah. But no, I genuinely think that he wants what's best for poker. I think he, you know, I just think that like he's overly confident in his level of intelligence and understanding of all these issues. And he's so well-spoken though, that.
Do you think that I know he's well-spoken. Do you think he tries to use big words sometimes?
I don't know.
Sometimes it feels like the words are like, whoa.
I don't know. No, I think like if you listen to some people, there's a guy named Godsod. Have you heard of him?
Godsod.
He's a whatever. Anyway, he's an intellectual. He goes on Rogan a bunch of times and all that. And he speaks a language that is so natural and so fluid for him that he's using big words all the time. But it just makes sense.
But it does. Like with Ali, it makes sense to me.
Right. They're not trying. I don't know that that's the case. I think it's like if you're well-read and you read a lot of books and you do that, and like you just, you know, you end up just speaking.
But you know, some people you can tell they're trying. I can see that with some people that they're trying hard.
Yeah.
Some people are natural.
When I try, I end up sounding so stupid because I'll use the wrong word and then think it meant something else. I'm like, I've heard this word used before. Oh, I guess I used it.
It's not right.
So now what I do, especially in a tweet, is I'm going to use a word like disingenuous or something. I'm like, I put it in the chat. I'm like, what does this mean again? Okay. There was a couple words I did out with recently. I can't even remember what they were.
Well, disingenuous isn't a hard word to understand.
No, I know. I'm just coming up with a random.
Okay.
But I do that because like then what happens is, especially with social media, is then people like you write a whole post and they won't focus on the content of your post. They focus on the word. That's not what that means.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. You know, kind of like my response to this, which was to say, I know you can still lose, like the bet. You could still lose 100,000, right? But your exposure per bet is 50,000. I didn't put per bet. I said your exposure goes from 100 to 50. I meant per bet. I didn't add per bet. Okay. So now it's like this horrific thing that I said. Wrong. And it's like, burn them at the stake. But anyway, I genuinely tried all of Branchy to be nice. And then he went at it a little bit and I had to come back with a little bit of being a dick.
That you did.
And then I let it go.
It's funny part. You were upstairs and you were saying, are you going to talk about something like this? You're like, yeah, I'm going to talk about somebody. And then you're like, and you're going to be so happy you get to talk about one of my faults. Because we always talk about mine, right? Everything shitty about me and not about you. And I was like, I started naming your faults.
Yeah, you're like, oh, you mean your judgmental?
Your judgmentalness? Is that what we're going to talk about?
Judgmentalness. Pretty sure. Can we do a spell check on that? That one does not pass.
Judgmentalness.
Babe, there's no way judgmentalness is a word.
Judgmentalness.
No.
Look it up.
Christian, judgmentalness.
Makes me... Could it be a word? Ruling. It sounds right in my head.
I mean, no.
You're so judgmental.
Your judgmentalness is coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could see in that regard, like if you're saying, you know, what I'm seeing from you right now is your judgmentalness is coming out.
Yes.
Like, I guess but I don't think it's a real word. It's certainly not a real word.
Okay.
Real word?
Not a word.
Got it.
Judgmentalism. Oh, I didn't even know that was one.
You can always add an ism to any word.
Yeah, ismness.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
But anyway, I was trying because, like I said, you know what I do now with social media, and it's so much better. And the truth is like when I was bored at home, not doing nothing, I was just like scrolling, death scrolling.
That's when it happens for you.
Yeah, and I was talking to my friend, a close friend, who's like showed me his screen time. He was like 8 hours a day. I'm like, bro, we need a detox. So we went golfing and everything like that.
Yeah.
But what I do now, especially like anything controversial, if I tweet something, I just instantly post it and then I mute the conversation.
Right.
Because otherwise your mentions just go crazy and then it's like nonsense. And I also learned too to like not engage with like egg accounts or just, you know, those like random accounts that